Good day everyone. So today, I am going to discuss the experiential approach. So experiential education, making care and education more effective through well-being and involvement. So our agenda for today is first, the introduction. Second, research on quality at the level of the learner. Third, measuring well-being and involvement. Fourth, research on quality at the level of context. Fifth, research on quality at the level of outcomes. And the last one is the conclusion. So first is introduction. The educational model experiential education or EXE evolved during the 1970s and 1980s from a series of observations of young children in early education settings in Flanders, Belgium. Since that time, EXE has grown to become one of the most influential models in the area of early childhood education in Flanders and has been disseminated across a range of world regions and countries. The approach has been further developed for childcare, special education, secondary education, higher education, and in-service training. So experiential education is the process which takes place between the teacher and student when the direct experience, the learning content, and the learning environment all combine. The theory provides that the learner is the one constructing the knowledge. The student is then able to develop their skills and understanding through an active involvement in their learning. Next is research on quality at the level of the learner. EXE theory suggests that the most economical way to assess the quality of any educational setting from preschool to adult education, in particular, from the perspective of the learner, is to focus on two process dimensions. First is the emotional well-being, and the second is level of involvement of the learner. Two process dimensions. So first is emotional well-being. So well-being indicates that the basic needs of the child are satisfied and refers to the degree of which children feel at ease, act spontaneously, show vitality, and self-confidence. So here in emotional well-being, supporting children's emotional well-being is highly important. If not supported, it can cause problems later on in life. Emotional development is now recognized as one of the main areas in the early years foundation stage. Therefore, this is why practitioners working in early years settings needs to be aware of ways to support children in this area of development. Supporting children with their emotional well-being will lead to children having a positive impact on their social interactions with others and the ability to make friendships. Second dimension is level of involvement. Involvement is evident when children are concentrated and focused, interested and fascinated, and when they are operating at the very limits of their capabilities. So here in level of involvement, it focuses on the extent to which pupils are operating to their full capabilities. In particular, it refers to whether the child is focused, engaged, and interested in various activities. Next is measuring well-being and involvement. For both well-being and involvement, a 5-point scale, the Leuven Involvement Scale has been developed to facilitate measurement and ensure inter-rater reliability. The Leuven Scale includes a methodology and a range of applications. For example, a screening procedure through which practitioners assign scores for both well-being and involvement, based on their observations over a period of a few weeks. This group screening is the starting point for a further analysis focusing on children with lower levels of well-being or involvement in order to understand why they do not feel good within the setting or do not engage in activities. This analysis forms the basis for interventions toward individual children and toward the general context and or the teacher's approaches. So here is the example of a 5-point scale of the Leuven scale. So the Leuven scales acknowledge the critical importance of a child's emotional well-being on the quality and depth of learning. We use the Leuven scales to indicate a child's level of well-being and involvement at the time of assessment. The Leuven scales support accurate and authentic summative assessment of a child's knowledge, skills, understanding, and learning behaviors. Next is research on quality at the level of context. Capitalizing on a myriad of experiences by teachers, a body of observations and expertise has been gathered and systematized in 10 action points. An inventory of initiatives that favor the well-being and involvement of children in the classroom environment. So here are the 10 action points. First, rearrange the classroom in appealing corners or areas. So appealing classroom can be used to nurture reflective thinking. Having cool tone, colors, and uncluttered rooms can create a positive classroom that will proactively prevent student misbehavior. Second, check the content of the areas and make them more challenging. Third, introduce new and unconventional materials and activities. Fourth, identify children's interests and offer activities that meet this. Fifth, support activities by stimulating inputs. 6. Widen the possibilities for free initiative and support them with sound agreements. 7. Improve the quality of the relations amongst children and between children and teachers. 8. Introduce activities that help children to explore the world of behavior, feelings, and values. 9. Identify children with emotional problems and work out sustaining intervention. And 10th is identify children with developmental needs and work out interventions that engender involvement. Next is research on quality at the level of outcomes. So high levels of well-being and involvement lead in the end to high levels of child development. There are 4 core outcomes sought in experiential education. So here are the 4 core outcomes. 1 is emotional health, a foundational feature that refers to social emotional conditions captured by the Rogerian concept of the fully functioning person, which connects with self-esteem, self-confidence, and resilience. So, a fully functioning person is one who is continually working toward becoming self-actualized. This person has received unconditional positive regard from others and does not place conditions on their own worth. They are also capable of expressing feelings and are fully open to life's many experiences. Number 2. Nurturing the learner's exploratory drive is critical as it can lead to lifelong learning. The challenge for education is not only to keep this intrinsic source of motivation alive, but also to make it encompass all domains that are relevant to functioning in society. The aim is to encourage deep-level learning as opposed to superficial learning that does not affect the basic competencies and has little transfer to real-life situations. Number 3. Valued competence. Number 3. Valued competence and dispositions in a range of relevant domains, such as communication, the understanding of the physical world including technology, social competence, and self-organization including entrepreneurship. Based on research and a wealth of case studies, AEXE has developed observation scales to capture such competence in young children. They all fit into the new paradigm on outcomes as the approach is holistic in nature and views competence as life skills. And number 4 is preserving the basic attitude of linkedness, expresses a concern for the development of a positive orientation towards reality. A basic sense of connectedness can prevent destructive and antisocial behavior. In fact, there are 5 parts to this basic attitude: linkedness with oneself, with others, with the material world, with society, and with the entirety of the cosmos. And last is the conclusion. So in sum, experiential education sees well-being and involvement as a measure of deep learning and of the effectiveness of the learning environment. Because these indicators of quality learning can be easily accessed by practitioners. The process-oriented strategy has an empowering impact on them and can help them to develop the huge potential of children. With proper support, children can become well-rounded adults who are self-confident and mentally healthy, curious and exploratory, expressive and communicative, imaginative and creative, well-organized and entrepreneurial, with developed intuitions about the social and physical world, and with a feeling of belonging and connectedness to the universe and all its creatures. So this is the end of my slide. Thank you everyone for listening.